Hey guys, Jesse here, and I've got a package. So yes, as the title implies, this is a modeler's kit from Wish, that awful site that promotes selling stuff at super duper low prices when we all know they're just all cheaply made shit, mainly from China, sold to you straight from the manufacturer. A lot of the stuff on Wish is either fake or just super duper low quality. So when I saw this magnificent modeler's kit for 17 bucks, you know, I just couldn't resist. I normally don't buy anything on Wish. I just kind of go on there for a laugh just to see how ridiculous some items can be sold at such low prices. Like, for example, I saw an impact drill on there that advertised 96 volts and like 120,000 milliamperes of raw power, which is just all bullshit. So I was just curious, wanted to get this for a video, but there is one item in here that is pretty interesting. So anyways, here's the bag it came in. It's very, very thin and cheap, and the box inside feels absolutely destroyed. So let's go ahead and get it opened up. This came a lot quicker than a lot of Wish things. I've only ever ordered one Wish thing, and it was one of the free items you get whenever you download the app. And it took like a month for it to come. This took maybe about a week. So here's the box. Absolutely screwed, really messed up. Yeah, it's all in Chinese, of course. Modeler, oh God, I'm trying to spin this without spilling the contents, but model suits tool, just the one tool. I was promised more, so there's stuff pouring out. So there's some contents, I guess. I think I got like the super duper pack or whatever. Strangely enough, the company symbol or logo here kind of looks like the ESFS symbol for the Earth Federation Space Force, which is a little funny. Anyways, yep, box is completely destroyed, so let's just do this. And there's one more thing in here. And just kind of go through the items. So what do we got? So we've got a little plastic container, which is slightly scratched up and dirty. There's no packing in that box at all, so I can only assume, or at least I hope, that the scratching and scuffing is from the tools rattling around in there. Again, after all, it did just come in a black bag, which is not the best way to transport boxes. So there's that. Assuming that's to hold some tools. Here's what I was a little interested in, not the main item I was interested in, but just another little container for maybe organizing small pieces. Probably be very useful for organizing HG pieces to paint, or just small pieces in general. It feels pretty weak and flimsy, but hey, it's a little plastic box. What more can you ask for? And then it has a little latch. This is the main item I'm looking forward to, but we'll put that aside. What do we got? These look like tweezers, I believe. So yeah, little needle nose tweezers, somehow scratched before pulling off the packaging, but they're really thin. Oh man. I mean, look at the flex whenever I pinch. That's not that great, because when there's a lot of flex here, that means this part opens up slightly. But if you're careful, you can probably use this for a few things. And the ends seem to be textured a little bit to maybe ease in picking up stuff. So that's not too bad. Pretty hard to mess up tweezers. Next up, you get a little screwdriver. It's actually, I think that's crooked. Yep, that's definitely crooked. That isn't a straight screwdriver. So not super duper important to be straight for modeling, but that is a crooked screwdriver. You can see down there maybe a little bit better. So that's not great. But again, for modeling, you're just screwing in tiny screws. You don't necessarily need it to be straight, but not fantastic. We have a pair of little scissors. Let's see how sharp these are. Yeah, those are decent actually. They're very, very thin though. Oh, and they're starting to flex a little bit once I get the plastic, but you can cut paper, it seems. I don't know what else you'd be able to use them for, but these are very thin. Look at that, look at the flex on that. So they cut, but not very well. We'll go ahead and take a look at the next item in my hand here, which is another pair of needle nose tweezers. So here we go, some angled needle nose tweezers, exact same quality as the other ones. I do like that the ends here are slightly textured, so it helps grip things a little bit better, but they are quite thin. These seem a little bit thicker actually. So these are very usable. I approve of these. So it's always useful to have these little angled ones because you can grab things and pull without putting too much stress on a kit or piece or whatever. Next up, we've got some huge modelers files. These seem perfectly fine. They have a pretty good amount of grit and the handles are nicely on there and they're very big. The ones I typically use are these, which are very, very small, as you can see. Use these for a lot of detail and nub removal. So if you need to really sand through something quickly, these are always really nice to have, metal files. So actually, these are really nice. I think they're just chrome plated metal, whereas my other ones are actual metal. So who knows how long they'll actually last, but the file themselves are gritty and they're kind of a medium grit to fine grit. So pretty nice to have actually. All right, let's go ahead and just take a look at the nippers. Yeah, I'm throwing out my God hands immediately for these babies. Play-Doh, use safety glasses, copper wipe. They don't cut copper wires, they cut copper wipes. This is a really thick handle, my God. It just why is it so dirty? Don't tell me these are used. I'm gonna take a closer look at the blade. So I don't think it's used, but it is just really gross and nasty, and it has hair on it, and bleh, I don't know. I can only assume it's from rattling around in the package, but that's pretty gross. Do I have something we can test to cut? I do. These are leftover parts from the Double Zeta. So let's just go ahead and... Yep, that... see? It like left a black mark from the dirt on it. But yeah, they cut... They're pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. They're pretty rough. But I have to say, they will definitely do the job. These are very... similar to in quality to some beginner nippers I bought a long time ago, which are these. And you can just basically, I mean, you shouldn't cut against the piece anyways, so cutting away from a piece, you don't need a very fine and sharp nipper. It's nice to have, but you don't really need it. So these, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised. The main tool you need for Gunpla or model building are nippers, and these are nice nippers. I actually do like how thick the handle is here. That's actually really comfortable, so I actually might hold on to these. It does feel pretty cheap, but hey, they cut things. Next up, we have a ruler, only in metric it seems. Nope, never mind. We have, actually, what do we have here? Nope, we have it in metric and standard or whatever we Americans like to call it. So it's a ruler, useful, nice little thin. It's really thin. It is metal though, so even though it will warp, it's not as unreliable as those weird silicone flexy ones, but I don't know. Ruler's a ruler. Then we've got this. What is this? It's just a bit of plastic. I think this is a part separator, now that I look at it. So, yeah, I mean, it's useful. This plastic, I mean, you could see through the end of that plastic because it's so thin. It's pretty jagged, so I don't know if I'd use this to separate pieces. I think it would do more damage to the piece than you'd want. I don't know. That's kind of a weird addition, so I guess you could separate pieces. Here's something nice. We've got a sanding and buffing block. This is not the one that's actually on the picture of the box, on the box, excuse me, or in the advertisement. So what do we got? So it's basically a makeup, one of these blocks. So you got a very coarse side and then finer and finer and finer. These are really, really nice to get rid of nubs. So you sand down the nub with this and then clean it up if you're straight building or just in general. So this is nice, but it is obviously a sort of arts and craft make of one of these. So this is like made and built as one thing. As you can see, this is all just the different nail files glued onto a foam block. But still, functionally it's going to work just fine. So that's actually really nice to have. Next up, you just kind of get the same exact thing, but in a handheld configuration here. So again, I like how thick it is. It's easy to grab and work with, but it's going to be a little harder to get into fine places with this, but it's going to work. And then you've got a sanding stick. This is actually, out of all the sanding stuff I just showed, these are probably my favorite. And this is quite a coarse one, which is pretty good. They're pretty hard to find this coarse. Normally you find them this, if you listen. These are a lot finer and used for cleanup, but sometimes these are really useful to get into little corners and stuff when you have rough stuff you got to clean up. So to have a rough one on both sides, you know what? Not bad, China. Now we've got an Exacto knife. Again, this packaging is super dirty. I know Wish is notorious for selling used stuff, and I don't think any of this is used, but I just don't get why it's so dirty. I can only assume it's dirty from packaging. But anyways, here is the Exacto knife, and oh man, it's very, very loose. That's scary. Let's tighten that up. Oh, okay, I'm a little afraid. I don't want to. Oh man, that blade is dirty. What the fuck? It's a little. It's a little like. Yeah, why is this blade so dirty? You get spare blades too. These blades look okay. Let's see. Yeah, these blades look all right, but why is the blade on the one actually dirty? So it's nice to get spare blades. I don't know. I don't know about the one on the actual Exacto knife, but yeah, it's an Exacto knife. It's pretty solid. It's not bad. Yeah, I'd probably use it. I would be concerned considering this feels like a really cheap metal, and my concern would be it coming apart on you while you're building, and then the knife slips, and then you die. And that blade doesn't want to come out. So that's a pretty snug fit in there. But hey, it works. It's okay. Now that I say that, actually, I might be taking what I just said back, because the collar doesn't seem to want to slip over the end there and tighten up. So, yeah, the construction of this is a little too simple, and it doesn't seem to want to tighten up around the actual part that holds the blade. See there? After I pulled out the blade, the collar doesn't want to move up anymore. So, I don't know. I'd use that with caution. And lastly, which is the thing I was looking most forward to, is this. So this is, despite what it may look like and sound like, is actually a battery-powered Dremel, or rotary tool as the common name is known. So I do all my battle damage with a Dremel, and I have a real, brand name Dremel, but it's really fat and awkward and a little too powerful at times, because it's meant for like, a woodworking tool, and I have to plug it in. So having a small handheld one like this was something I wanted to pick up for a while, and seeing that in a $17 Super Modelers kit, it came with one of these, I was actually this is what drew me. This is what made me buy it, honestly. So I already put some batteries in it. It takes 2 AA's, and yeah, it spins. It does not spin or sound as powerful as my Dremel, and it is very cheaply made. But hey, if it spins some bits and makes some cuts, then that works for me. So here are the bits it comes with, which are just rattling around in there, and okay. Come on, get out. So what do we got? We've got a angled sanding bit, a rounder buffing bit. It's made out of a sort of felt. Another fine sanding bit, a coarser sanding bit, and sort of fine. Actually, this is a very weird feeling bit. And then a metal file bit. So all of these except for these two and maybe, no, I would only say these two. These two are nice, decent quality. These other two bits feel awful. Or these other 3 bits here, this buffing bit and all that feels awful. But these are useful. Let's see how it goes in there. With the Dremel, you actually tighten it. With a collar, with this, you just stick it in, I guess. Yeah, so not super duper powerful, but hey, powerful enough to cut into raw plastic. So, you know what? For 17 bucks, and all this crap that comes with it, this in particular was worth it. The batteries give it a lot of weight. Otherwise, it's just unbelievably light. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but hey, 17 bucks. Can't push too hard. As you can see, I'm not letting go of the button or anything. I'm just stopping it with my finger. That's not a fantastic sign, but I don't really want to test it on any plastic here or any Gunpla kits until my next video, because the next thing I want to do is actually buy a Gundam or Gunpla kit off of Wish. Now, I know pretty much every Gunpla kit on Wish is either a bootleg or a fake or whatever, or a ripoff, but honestly, it's for the sake of the video, and as far as I know, Wish just kind of sells all their crap from a warehouse, and none of it really goes back to the manufacturers. It depends. I'll probably end up ordering a Gundam from a company like TT Hongley or something that just, you know, they're gonna get like $1 for my purchase from what Wish will take. So I don't really have a problem with that, but I want to try to build that kit to the best of my abilities with the tools I have here from this Wish modelers kit. So what do I think of the kit overall? Let's just quickly go through the tools one more time. The 2 tweezers here are not bad. They're fine. The angled one is pretty good. This is a little too thin. I would not use this Exacto knife myself, but in a pinch, maybe. It's just a little too loose, and the collar doesn't seem to work correctly. The part separator, I mean, it's cool, but again, this is so jagged and nastily made, I don't know, that I'm pretty sure you would just scar up your plastic using that. The nippers were surprisingly good. I will probably use this for some rough cuts and maybe some general building and messing with, because these are actually really bad. But these were decent. The screwdriver is crooked. That's about as much as I can say for this. Also, interestingly enough, you only get a Phillips head and no flathead, so kind of incomplete there. The scissors cut, but they are very cheap. I'm probably just going to throw these away, honestly. I have zero use for these in modeling. Probably trim a bonsai tree. The ruler is a ruler. Nothing to say there. All these sanding materials are actually really good. Definitely would hold on to these, and I'm definitely going to use them. These large metal files, also very good and very useful, and you should definitely have at least a few of these. Then finally, these little plastic boxes. This is going to be really useful for organization, and this is going to be useful for maybe keeping some of these tools in here and some other stuff. So these are fine. You can always use these little boxes. So overall, for 17 bucks, surprisingly, it's actually worth it. This is actually worth it, and the sanding sticks and everything are actually worth it. I'm kind of beside myself because I really don't like Wish. I just think that a majority, like 90% of Wish, is just an absolute scam and just terrible stuff for super cheap. But this stuff, while it isn't amazing quality, it gets the job done. You know, you don't need anything super fancy when it comes to building models. You just need tools that get the job done. So overall, yeah. I don't know if I'd buy this as my first like starter kit, but it will definitely do. You have all the tools here to build some Gunpla or models in general. So anyways, that's all I got to say. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.